You finish your time at the Fighting Christians, and you start to get ready for the next level, the NFL. Not only that, but you're selected 16th overall in the first round, that 1970 draft class. Can you take me through the moment that you heard that you were drafted?
When the draft came, I'd been informed that I may be a high draft pick, but I wasn't real sure. And it was following some stories about guys hanging around the phone waiting for the phone to ring on draft day. I was taking a fine arts class at the time, and that day of the draft, I went to class. And Bonnie stayed home. All of a sudden, someone comes and excuses themselves and said, we need to see Richard McGeorge. And I knew something was going on, so I, of course, got up and went on out. And they said, "You've been drafted by the Green Bay Packers in the first round, 16th player in the country." I said, "Whoa!" Anyway, so I head to the apartment and talked to my wife, who had spoken to the general manager at Green Bay. His name was Pat Pepler. Anyway, he says to my wife, when she told him I was in class, he said, What's he doing down there? Is he down there to get an education or to play football?" And so I said, "Well, I was here to do both, actually, but it was really exciting at that time to get the call, and wow, it was just incredible."
Was that a dream come true for you?
It was a dream come true. I can't say that I spent every moment saying I'm going to make it to the NFL, because I didn't, to be honest with you. But as my development, my years at Elon I got a little bigger, a little stronger, but I always felt if the ball is thrown to me, I'm supposed to catch it. And whether it's one hand, two hands, it's mine and nobody else's. So that worked for me.
Got you where you needed to be at Green Bay.
Exactly.
Now, tell me what it was like playing with the Packers, the first experiences. You play your first couple years, getting passes from Bart Starr. What is that experience like?
There was a big changeover in the Packers roster, the team. There were a lot of guys that played for Coach Lombardi in those first two Super Bowls. They had began to retire. So Bart was still a player, and Carroll Dale and Ray Nitsky and those, Dave Robinson and Willie Wood, and there were some names on there that are Hall of Famers.
Absolute legends, yeah.
Legends, that's for sure. And I was just honored to be a part of it and to learn from what they would do to guide and help me.
And then 73, you're the offensive player on the team from that year. That's pretty special to be able to come back. What motivated you during your time where you were on the sidelines to be able to come back and have one of your finest seasons?
Being the offensive player of the year in 73, the opening game, I ended up catching a touchdown pass on Monday Night Football. And we went on to beat the Jets and Joe Namath in Milwaukee that day. And everybody watched that Monday Night Football halftime deal so you could see what was happening around the league. And of course, we all are familiar with Howard Cosell. And Howard Cosell, he did the highlights, the narrating of it, and all of a sudden here he comes on in one of our games where I caught a touchdown pass, and he comes to the point and says, "Rich McGeorge from tiny Elon College in the Carolinas." I'm not sure if he knew it was north or south at the time, but it was just a great thrill. And
that's a you made it moment right there, to have Cosell call your name out on national television there.
Yeah, from tiny Elon. And I know Elon folks from that day on have been they recognize Richard McGeorge and Elon and the Green Bay Packers, and I'm just so very blessed.
It's a special thing. And then you decided to stay in football. Once you were done with your playing days in Green Bay, you go on to coach. You go to Duke, you go to Florida, NC Central. We talked about Shaw earlier. Even with the Dolphins in the NFL, USFL, and then, correct me if I'm wrong, but I saw the XFL also at one point as well.
That's
I'll ask you
right.
about that in a sec, but what was your experience like? When did you know you wanted to get into coaching?
Well, that's what I always, when I came to Elon, I wanted to get an education degree, and next to my father, my high school coach Hank Hamrick was the most influential person, maybe other than my pastor at the church. But that was what I wanted to do. I wanted to get my education degree and teach and coach. The fact that I felt like I missed some time because of pro football, that I wasn't sure I could get back into teaching and coaching, or whether it was something I was able to do at that time. And then Coach Red Wilson had become the head coach over here at Duke, and he brought me on as a part-time coach back in '81, and from there I've just been blessed with coaching at places like Duke and at Florida and at Shaw and North Carolina Central, and it's been an honor and it's been a thrill, and I love those kids, every one of them that I've coached. Of course, having a chance to coach with Steve Spurrier at Florida, and then hired by Don Shula, Coach Shula with the Dolphins, and then Jimmy Johnson followed Coach Shula, and I was able to be retained on that staff, and that's three pretty good names in football, Yeah. So I'm just totally blessed, and it's kind of come to a time where I can watch.